So now we have some changes in FrontDK ALGO, and we want to contribute to Microsoft ALGO with these magnificent changes. So we'll just press the contribute and open a pull request from our fork. We'll give it a title. My code is the best code. And let's just create a pull request. And we'll see that it runs the CI process, and somebody will need to review this. Obviously, you won't be able to merge this yourself. I also need to pen the license agreement. So one workflow, we're waiting approval, and then I need to make sure that I sign the license agreement from Microsoft and stuff like that. I can sign that, that's not a problem. I'll do that right here. Contribution agreement, the code that I just wrote is my own, and authorize Microsoft. Actually, my GitHub ID, I have sole ownership of the intellectual property. Agree to that. And it takes me back to GitHub. I can see that my workflow now awaits approval, obviously, so I'll now change role and become Freddy Christensen, seeing that there is a new pull request coming in, my. Look at that, I see that yes, the CLA requirements have been met. I can approve this one so that it'll run the workflows. Before doing that, I'll obviously check what code is here, and be able to see that this does not look like code that we want to have in our repository. So I will simply say no code like this, please, and close with that comment, which will give you the pull request back. And I'll press F5 with the comment that no code like this, please, and the pull request was closed by FreddyDK. And I'll just say, okay, well, I want my code, so I'll keep it in my own repository, my FrontDK ALGO. So it's still here, and once I sync my fork with Microsoft, I can still merge and keep my changes, and they'll be here so that when I deploy to the 3 repositories locally, it will work, meaning that I'll now have a local setup of ALGO, and I can work with that locally. Of course, if I do my modifications to the main branch in my local version of this, I'll have like immediate uptake of any changes, meaning that I could break current versions of ALGO running in some repositories. So you could create a branch locally to a stable version and a development version, and then work with that. Just make sure that the way that works is, of course, that under actions and deploy, when you run deploy, you can specify here to deploy to a stable branch, and you can say this is the one that all your local repositories are using. Then you can do the development in main, and you can do the contributions to Microsoft in main. You can do the sync with Microsoft ALGO in main, and then just deploy to the stable branch once you want to update everything that your local repositories are running on. This is basically the version we're deploying to new versions. We're just using version numbers here, and then doing a deployment to main as well down here. Are we doing whenever we ship something? Shouldn't be necessary for you because you're developing in main. But that's the suggested way of working with your own local ALGO repository and own local templates if you want to have changes that either cannot be contributed to Microsoft, or you don't want to contribute to Microsoft. My recommendation is always to make sure that these things are as aligned as possible. It is just a hassle to merge these changes every single time there are changes to Microsoft ALGO. With that, that's the last task in the extending ALGO, and with that you can clean up, you can do whatever changes you want yourself and try it out to see how this works for you. Thanks.